Welcome back to another episode of the Sit Down Talk. This is our love and relationship series where we talk about love, we talk about marriage, and we talk about everything in between, and we super f***ing real with it. My name is Kier.
And I'm Noemie.
And we welcome you. Clap it up for you for being here. I only got one hand today, so I gotta do it like this. Oh, you said you wanted to say something.
I was just gonna say, you said it's super real, and I'm like, super authentic.
Super authentic.
Authentic, but for real.
Only kind I use. If this is your first time here, welcome. Make sure you go and binge all of our other episodes to give you a better feel for who we are. And, help you fall in love with us and whatnot. Not in a creepy way, but in a way that's very genuine. If you are one of those people that we refer to as the repeat offenders, we're going to do it.
We always do. Go
Come
ahead.
on, bring it in. Yes.
Hugs. Oh, my hug was short. Okay.
Oh, you getting one of the church things?
I really struggle with physical touch.
That's okay.
And it's not even real.
You gotta touch people.
Yeah.
It is real, boo.
Let me say one thing, though. This might be the 40th episode of the Sit Down Talk.
For real?
We're close. We're close. Last time I checked, we were like 38. Maybe it was 36, but we're about to hit 40.
Look at
If this
it.
isn't the 40th, I'm going to make a big deal for the 40th.
The Sit Down Talk is middle age.
Oh, man.
Look at you growing up.
Please go back and binge.
Little baby.
Yeah, we sounded like we didn't know what we were talking about.
Yo, I don't want to rabbit hole too early because some of these folks don't know us. If you're a repeat offender, we be rabbit holing. But I think about that. Like, it's a few sit down talks that I refuse to go back and watch because it's a little bit too cringe for me. But like, that stops so many people from telling their legitimate stories and being honest on camera because they're so afraid to grow and then look back and feel dumb.
Yeah.
Like, nah, that's my receipt for how far I've come looking back and looking at the way I thought and seeing how different it is from the way I feel now. I'm in a real reflective space.
If you are a repeat offender, no, we're not at home.
Oh, yeah. No. We're not at home, y'all. We're actually in the beautiful city of Atlanta. I'm going to be real distracted because I'll try to show y'all our view. It's just like the cityscape. We got a joint right here. All these tall buildings.
Really good lighting in here, too.
It's perfect, man. We are recording the Marriage and Money podcast with Egypt Sherrod and Mike today.
Can we say that? Can we tell people that? Well, I feel like by the time this comes out, y'all will know. Yeah.
It's not like we have an NDA. We straight.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're recording that with them today here in Atlanta. So we dropped by, we spent the night. We about to head over to the studio in a minute, but we was like, let's crank out a sit down talk.
We had some extra time. Our shooting time got extended an hour, and I'm like, that's just enough time to shoot an episode. So let's do it.
You came up with a brilliant idea for today's sit down talk.
I think it's brilliant. I hope you guys think the same. But I think I've been getting hit up a lot to do like podcasts and stuff, and a lot of people have been asking us about marriage and what it's like to have a business together. So like marriage and business, what is it like to work with your spouse, and not just like work with your spouse, but build a business with your spouse. And we talk a lot about how we really struggled with boundaries when it comes to that. I think we're in a good enough place to start talking about it, because I know like we're really not the type of people, like we don't consider ourselves experts on anything, but we do love to share our process. And because that question has been coming up a lot, I don't know that we've actually spent the time really talking about it.
No, I know for sure I haven't. And even when you told me about the idea for this joint, I was like, I don't know if I ever really talked about that or even thought about it in great detail. So I don't know what I'm going to say today at all. It's going to be a surprise to all of us.
He doesn't really know many of our questions either. I have my notes, so if you see me looking down, that's just because, listen, I need to write stuff down. My brain don't work like that. So if you're new here, you see us, you've probably seen us before, but like, how did we get here? Let me put my phone on silent. How did we get here, and like, how did this start? How did this like social media presence thing start? And I'm gonna go with you because it was his idea. I wasn't a huge believer at the time, but why did you want to put your life on the internet, or put our lives on the internet?
So we gotta go back. This was 2018, I think.
17.
It was 17.
He was like, yeah, because she was born in 2017. She was like 3 months old.
And it was still warm outside. Yep. Yeah.
It was that first road trip.
Oh yeah, the Jersey.
Oh man, that day. We're gonna link.
Oh, I lost my cell phone.
Yes,
that
we're
day.
gonna link. That was our first vlog episode ever.
Yeah.
We're gonna link it here so you can go back. But even that day, I wasn't really sure what you wanted to do. We're like, babe, I'm gonna buy this $500 camera, and we were broke. And I was like, why?
It was like $350 at the time, which might as well have been.
It might have been. Yeah,
for
might
the
as
amount
well
of money
been.
we had in our pockets.
So why did you want to do that?
Man, I kind of don't remember. I be jealous of all these internet personalities that got all these crazy, intentional stories. I'm a
Yeah.
really by the way type of dude.
Yes,
I
yes.
just get really lucky. I think I wanted to document our life
Yeah.
because I was just realizing that time was moving, and I always told Noemie, because there's so many things that happen in my life. Sometimes I feel like my life is planned, but I'm not hitting the record button. And I've been creating content for as long as I can remember. And what I wanted was something that I could look back on and just look at all the memories between my baby and my girlfriend at the time and all these dope things we were doing. So I just went out and bought a camera. I did some research. I was like, hey, babe, we ain't got a bunch of money in this joint account, but I think I want to buy a camera. And she wasn't overly enthusiastic or anything. She just didn't hold me back. She was
I
like,
was more annoyed than anything.
all right. Like, let's see what happens. And we just started filming our day to day. We started filming special things that we were doing. We started filming the things that we thought in the moment. And then I was going back and I was editing them and looking at them. I'm like, hey, babe, I think this is really something.
Yeah.
But the views on YouTube
Nah.
wasn't saying that at all. Nobody was really watching.
We had like a good 200 view mark.
Strong 150.
But what people don't understand is out of 150, 125 was my family
Oh,
alone.
cousins, yeah, for sure. Cousins and Tatis.
Yeah,
Tatis,
the
the Haitian
Tatis.
word for auntie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Tati's been supporting. Tati's been our number one supporter.
Shout out to the Tatis out
Yeah.
there. And we just started filming, and then I saw the first episode of Black Love I've ever seen before. If you don't know, Black Love is a show that was on OWN for about 6 seasons. It's created by Cody and Tommy Oliver. And it's an amazing show where people just talk about their experiences with love and relationships. I ain't never been nowhere where people were honest about the love they had and honest about their shortcomings. And I was captivated. I'd never seen anything like that. Ended up going to an event and seeing Cody.
Yeah,
And
mom friends.
Mom friends, yeah. And I saw Cody, like when you watch Black Love and you watch the people interview, Cody and Tommy are behind the camera asking you questions.
Oh wait, real quick, we were on season 6. That's why we know.
Oh yeah, we're on season 6 of Black Love.
What a full circle moment.
Dang,
Side note.
I be forgetting those things. Yeah, and I was inspired by it. So I was like, hey babe, let's just talk about our relationship. And she was like, on camera?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. She was like, okay. So we put the camera up and we just started letting the chopper fly and talking about our experiences as new parents, our relationship, the things that happened in the past we weren't too kosher about. We just letting it all out.
Can I add something to that? Like, especially so we started vlogging, like day in the life vlogs 1st, and then we didn't start shooting what became the sit down talk. We didn't even come up with the name for the sit down talk until maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It was just honest conversation.
Just having conversation.
But I feel like we started that sometime in 2018, and I don't know if I ever told you this, but one of the reasons I was a little hesitant to talk about it in the beginning, to do it in the beginning, but one of the reasons why I really wanted to do it is because we were in a tough space in our relationship at the time. And I just felt like we needed to see ourselves in the way that we were talking to each other and the things that we were saying. Because I would replay certain things and he'd be like, I didn't say that. Or he would replay certain things and I'd be like, I didn't say that. But then to see us interacting on camera, knowing that we were going to post it, and to just see what it really looked like looking back on our conversations and even our, not arguments, but just those disagreements, those really difficult kinds of conversations. I think that, and you said this recently, it's really helpful to look at yourself.
I think it's the last sit down talk.
Yeah, yep. It really, I don't know if it changed me as much as it just made me a lot more informed about the way that I was coming across, or, looking back at certain sit down talks, things that I was repeating, like things that I didn't realize I was feeling that I didn't have the words for. But I just think that we really needed an honest look at ourselves, to look at, what were some things we needed to change, but also what were some ways that we saw ourselves growing in a relationship.
And that kind of leads us to where we are now with almost 51,000 of y'all tuning in. We don't do the day in the life anymore, the day in the life vlog. We would like to, but I just don't think it's realistic for the time and the lifestyle that we have. But now we have this sit down talk where we go out in public and we see y'all all the time, and people just be like, yo, I stopped the sit down talk and had a conversation with my husband for an hour. We talked about things we never talked about before. We get this all the time in public from y'all, so thank y'all, because y'all telling us that we help y'all. is actually y'all helping us in a lot of
Absolutely.
ways. We're in the same place you are. We're not experts. We're still trying to figure out our marriage in a million different directions. And it's dope that this is an open conversation between us and a whole bunch of people, because it just empowers folks to be honest about where they are with. Yeah.
We need that. And I also feel like we grow up in a place where everybody was like, be private about your relationship. Don't share, anything with other people. And I understand where that came from, but I just feel like community just means so much more in this generation, in this day in the life, especially with all of us having kids and businesses and not really having blueprints or examples, not realizing that we can really rely on each other.
Peer-to-peer support and peer-to-peer counseling is amazing, because you're talking to people who are at your level, who want to talk to you at our level. That's where we are with the sit-down talk now. I'm sorry, it's kind of crazy to talk about because it's turned into this whole thing, but in my mind, I'm just talking to my wife in front of a camera.
Yeah. There's nobody else here.
But somebody said on Instagram, we made a post a few weeks ago about gender roles. It was during our Q&A, and I said something about how gender roles don't make sense to me, and I posted on Instagram, and oh my God, everybody was going crazy.
Some of these sound bites from the sit down talk been going crazy.
Yeah, one of them got almost 1 million. Got 1 million views on Instagram. But one dude said something. It's just funny watching when we first started the sit down talk. One of my fears was that people would read us in a way that misinterpret us, because when she talking sometimes, I'm looking off to the side, I'm thinking like, y'all know my face be doing a million things.
We both have resting IDGAF face. Did I do it right?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. We do, and when you're on camera, sometimes there is this pressure to be overly expressive.
Yeah,
and
we just not those people.
I'm not that. I think this, no shade, I think it's too much of that on YouTube, and it's used the way that people think that other people really act in real life. You guys, I'm so excited. Like, I don't talk like, I'm not that excited about nothing. ever. So I don't ever want to have to be that fake version of myself. But one dude was like, look at him, he looking towards her for validation every other word. I'm like, bro, the mic is here and she is here. I'm trying to look at her and talk to y'all at the same time. So that people misinterpreting us doesn't bother me anymore. But me editing the videos helped me realize how much we misinterpret each other.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes I'll stop, I'm like, damn, that ain't what I meant. I see how she got that. And then I'll respond to something that you say on the sit down talk, and I'll stop and I'm like, nah, that's not what she was saying, bro. You completely misread that. So it's helped us in a million ways, and it's helped other people. But it's this big ass thing right now. And what?
I was just about to say, we get a lot of comments about how well we communicate with each other. And I think this has really helped that.
Because, the sit down talk?
Yeah, we used to, when we first started the sit down talk.
I thought you were struggling to remember my name. I thought you were trying to say Kier. It's like, damn.
Come on. At this point.
I mean,
whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Exhaustion is real.
No.
Shout out to the parents
I think I was just trying to find my point. Because we used to edit the sit down talks together. Well, he used to edit and I would sit in the back and be like, take that out, put that back in, blah, blah, blah.
Which if you ever edit a video, you know that is the worst way.
I'm surprised we survived that part of our relationship. But I keep hearing in my head, communication, you guys communicate so well. And I think that's why. Because we had to live through those cringy moments and look at what we were saying to each other on the sit down talk and trying to figure out what to edit and what to put in and what to take out. I think I have a better understanding of the way that your mind works because of those post conversations after editing. And I remember when we first did the sit down talk, I would get so anxious because we would always end up in an argument or some type of disagreement. It wasn't all, it was frustrating.
We learned, for anybody who's out there who wants to create marriage content with a person that you're actually married to, and you let me fix that. For anybody who's out there creating marriage content and your marriage is a real marriage outside of the cameras, you know what I'm saying? I encourage you to only talk about the things that y'all have actually worked through in real life. Don't talk about things that are still sensitive. It may make for amazing content, but it's not worth your actual marriage being negatively impacted for a few views and clicks. That's just my opinion.
AKA, don't bring no new to the camera.
Don't bring no new to the camera.
It almost never goes well for y'all. It might for content.
Oh, I'm going to watch.
Hell yeah, I'm going to watch.
I'm going to watch. I'm going to feel terrible for you the entire time.
We just went on a tangent. So I was getting ready. I already asked you my first question.
Oh, what was
you didn't
it?
even notice. It was, how did we get started?
Yeah, man.
And then my follow-up question, though, is, we talked a little bit about what our intentions were in the beginning, but at some point, something changed. We were like, okay, we really have something. We want to do this seriously. What do you think was that turning point for you?
That's a good question. I didn't expect that.
Oh, can I start with my answer?
Yeah, please.
When we started making money and people started recognizing
The YouTube money?
Yeah, the YouTube money.
Okay.
Like when we were able to because I don't know how it is now, but back then you had to get a certain amount of consistent views,
Yeah, watch hours.
and engagement in order for you to monetize. And then I think we probably made way more money than we expected in a certain period of time after we were being more consistent. Granted, we did have a couple viral videos. I think our engagement video went viral.
That's how we got the monetization.
Yep, that's how we got the monetization. Our engagement video went viral. I'll tag that here somewhere. And people started commenting. People started saying, oh, I watched this with my husband, or I watched this with my boyfriend, or it could happen for me too. Like those kinds of comments. And I'm like, oh, shoot. People are really starting to recognize us. And I don't think we were getting brand deals or anything yet, but we were just getting a lot of visibility. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like we're actually helping people. And I think that's when I started looking into like the content strategy and the monetization and kind of looking at, for me, it was very much strategy. You know, like I know that, you know, even though we have this like 2-person kind of like facing business when it comes to the sit down talk, I'm still all about business and numbers. So I'm just like, okay, if I'm going to put my business out here on the streets, if I'm going to start advocating for love and relationships and growth and all of those things, how can I make this worth it? And it was very much a business decision for me. I don't know that it was the same for you.
Nah, it was never business.
Your mind don't even think like that.
Nah, I'm not money motivated. Like money just doesn't motivate me. I love having it, but it doesn't motivate me. And YouTube, unless you got like 1 million subscribers on YouTube, you're not really making a ton of money anyway from monetization. I don't know. I think for me, it was what I said earlier, meeting people in public.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was still working my 9-to-5 job. The people at my job would stop me. And like, hey, yo, I saw the episode of the Sit Down Talk. And man, I thought about this and we talked about this. And my wife and I had a discussion about this. And it wasn't just women that were coming to me.
Yeah, it was
Men that were coming to me, and men that didn't look like me. A lot of white men, a lot of Asian guys.
See, you messing up.
I know it's it's the iPad. My bad, y'all.
It's okay.
I enjoy being helpful, but it's something about somebody stopping you and really explaining to you how something in your mind helped shape a difficult situation that they were going through positively. That just resonates with me so hard because it's not about helping individuals. I really think it's not just about helping individuals. I think if you help strong couples, you help build strong couples, so strong couples turn into strong families. Strong families create strong humans who find other strong humans, create strong families, and that's just how we have a better world. I know it sounds really idealistic, but I think it's piece by piece that way. That just inspired me to keep moving with this.
I think idealistic, I mean, it is idealistic, but it's also so purposeful, and it really means something. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times people look at these things like it's such this big idea and this big thing. And we talked about this, I don't know if this was in the last sit down talk or the one before that, but the importance of community and having that type of dialogue within the community.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it was. It was like the greater human race versus community. And I'm like, I think when you start with the people around you and you start with the people that have access to you, I think that's when you can make purposeful change.
That's crazy because even the sit down talk episodes, I'm starting to remember the things that we say and I apply them to my life. The sit down talk is dope for the same reason that other social media content is dope, because when you put it out in the world, it puts a little bit more pressure on you to stick to what you said you were going to do and be the person you said that you're going to be, because you get to see yourself in a different light from a different angle, and then the people around you hold you accountable too. Your subscribers they're no joke. They pull up, they see everything. Oh, remember you in the hotel with the orange chair in the background? Orange chair. And then I'll go and look and be like, oh, like subscribers remember everything, and they really hold that close.
And they will hold you accountable on what you say, and when you contradict what you say, like, remember you said you was gonna do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
You're right.
Yeah, I don't mind accountability in that form.
It still stings a little bit for me.
With accountability?
Yeah.
You don't like it?
It's not that I don't like it. I just think that you're a lot more used to public speaking than I am. Like, I'll be honest, when I'm on the sit down talk, I'm really speaking from the heart. I don't remember anything that I said after that, because I'm literally just saying what's on my mind, what's on my heart. And I rarely look back on the full. I probably watch it one time all the way through. But after that, I don't really go back and watch it.
I never go back and watch them.
One thing I will say is that I'm definitely authentically myself. So it's not like I contradict myself often, but it is like one of those things where I can see where I grew. I can see where I thought one way a while ago, and then today I've clearly grown from that mindset, or I've clearly like elevated from that mindset, and I'm thinking differently. And I think the realization of the change is sometimes hard to, not hard to deal with, but it's just, you don't see how you grow. It's not like you can feel growth. I feel like the people who feel the growth the most are the people around you, or the people that watch you, or the people that listen to you. And I think like that's just not scary. I don't know what the word is, but it's just a
scary light.
Kind of. I'm like, I don't know if scared is the right way. It's just like, I don't know. It's just very different. Different is the best way I can. It's a good different, but it's just like, oh wow, like I really don't think that way anymore. I wonder why I thought that way. I wonder what made me change. You know, it's reflective. Yeah. It's like a reflective. And then we say this before, like growth doesn't always feel good.
Growth really feels good for me. And I don't feel, to your point, I don't really feel when I'm growing in real time. I feel my growth in chunks. And I usually feel my growth most when I'm up against a situation that I usually negatively react to. And at this time I react to it far better than I would have before. But the problem sometimes comes in where my expectation is that I'm supposed to react to these things in a way that's, you know, even keel and makes sense and practical and all of that. So I don't really give myself the due credit once I see that growth. I'm like, well, I was supposed to be that way. And it's, you can't burn the candle from both ends. You end up with nothing. This is making me think. It's a million things running through my head right now. Like even being a therapist, one of my trepidations for the sit down talk is that people, being a black man in this space is weird. It's weird. I'm conscientious of the way the world views black people. I'm conscientious of the way that the world views men. I'm at a really nasty intersection where, let me say, I gotta.
Hey, speak your piece, baby.
I gotta hit the mark perfectly, or I can get misinterpreted. I can get spun. I can be called a misogynist. I can be called a homophobe. I can be called a million different things that don't characterize who I am as an individual. And like, you know, when you got your job and whatever job you do professionally, and you got to work like a work personality, and let's say one of your coworkers finds your Instagram and it's different than your work personality, and now your credibility as an employee is questioned based on who you are in your everyday life. What I didn't want is for people to hear me say things like, I don't believe in people, like that thing. I don't believe in us as a human race. And be like, well, how can you be a therapist if you don't believe in us? Well, how can you be a lawyer if you listen to rap music? How can you be a doctor if you smoke cigarettes? You know what I'm saying? I didn't want people to not be able to make the distinction between who I am as a professional, who I am as an individual. I don't care no more. Like, however you characterize me, that's your thing. That doesn't belong to me. I'm not keeping it in my house. That's what you think. I care far less about that. The sit down talk has really set me free from that. Like, this is my job too. I enjoy it, and I'm real cash right now. Y'all lucky I got shoes
real
on.
Cash.
Yeah, I usually don't have shoes.
Speaking of, like, I guess change is the better word. How do you feel like, we talked about like how we've grown and changed individually. I feel like I'm interviewing you. I feel like I'm interviewing ourselves.
It's like you're moderating a panel.
I do feel like am I doing a good job so far?
Doing a great job.
Awesome. But yeah, we were talking about change, growth, like individually, but how do you feel like this has changed like our relationship, or more importantly, like our roles in the relationship? Because we're in a romantic relationship, marriage, but also a business relationship, because we co-own this business, which is a media company, not just, you know, social media influencing. We do a lot.
Yeah, I don't think people really understand how much we do or what.
Why don't you break it down for people? Everything just real quick, do? If you can just give people an overview of like the roles that we play, the business side, and how that affects our marriage.
I feel like if I say it, it's not going to really give it. It's just desserts.
Let's try.
So what part you want to start with, the brand stuff or just like the everyday logistical stuff?
Okay, so we already started. We have a business, Gaines Creative Group. That's our business. And within that business, we have the brand.
We got the brand stuff.
We have like the social media and things that you might see on Instagram.
Yeah.
We have
live speeches and panels and things like that. We got that
individually and together.
Yeah, right. Because she's been speaking on panels a lot lately. We got a lot of projects we working on. I'm working on this book.
Yeah.
That's actually not me working on it. It's us working
Yep.
on this book. I just hired a publicist, which means we just hired a publicist. Social media team. Like when we first started, it was just me and her. And now it's me and you, our manager's two assistants, my book agent, my publicist,
Speaking agent.
my speaking agent,
Social media manager.
editor,
Editor.
assistant, stylist.
Glam.
Even within
And
that,
then we have one-off photographers, videographers.
yeah. Definitely got to
there's a lot of
rotate a
people.
list of those people, and it's a
Our nanny
interdependable.
now. Our nanny is part of the
yeah.
business now too.
It's an
Y'all seen her at the last
interdependent
sit-down
service.
talk.
So with all of those things, there's also like communication. When brands come in, our teams negotiate contracts. We got to do the scheduling.
Yes.
We had to schedule this. When I get back, I got to shoot due for Wawa. Then the next week, I got to shoot due for Ali. And it takes 2 days to shoot. It takes 2 days to edit sometimes.
Can I cut in real quick and tell them about the week? So Kier has been gone since Wednesday.
Was it Wednesday or Thursday?
It was Thursday. It was Thursday. But it might as well have been Wednesday because
what are days?
right? And I think this past week has been a great representation of what life has looked like, right? So he left to go to New York on Thursday for a speaking engagement that he had Friday.
Shout out to the National Action Network, Al Sharpton, and all the good people for inviting me.
No, it was great. I think you have a snippet of what you were talking about on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Please check that out. And from there, he went on a boys' trip from Friday to Sunday. Between Thursday and Sunday, I was with the girls. I had my own podcast. Hopefully it should be out by now. If not, I'll find a way to let you guys know. That was on Sunday, so I still had to watch the girls, get glam, go shoot the podcast, come back. This is Sunday. Kier comes back Sunday night. Monday, we have to travel to Atlanta for the podcast that we're about to do right after this. So then we fly to Atlanta, and then we have to go back tomorrow, which is Tuesday. Wednesday is an all-day shoot. We have
Wednesday.
Wawa, and we have a quick turnaround. We have to send it back that night.
Yep.
And then we have another brand that's due, on Monday? Or maybe on Friday? I don't even know. I can't think past that far. But when I tell you we are constantly working.
I think I can show y'all my calendar. So this is my calendar. All right, so this is my calendar that y'all are seeing. The days, the darker the circle in yellow or orange, that means the more things that I have to do. If it's like a deep dark yellow, then that means it's probably like 5 or 6 action items due that day. You can see my Gmail. I got a whole bunch of unread messages.
No judgment.
Nah, no judgment, because it's a lot to keep up with. That's just to give y'all an idea how busy it is. And some of these things require us to travel. I got to go to St. Jude's in a couple weeks.
Yes.
And
oh my
Memphis.
gosh. Yes. I wanted to go on that. Or is it Nashville?
It's Nashville. My bad. Nashville. Yeah. It's a lot of moving. And don't get me wrong, this isn't a complaint thing. Everybody wants to be booked and busy. But with that comes a lot. There's a lot of pressure on her to be with the girls and do that whole thing. When I come back, there's a lot of pressure for me to jump back in the family. Like, there's no amount of money or success you can have that exonerates you from being a parent. You think Beyonce don't wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning getting screamed at because she ain't making Fruit Loops?
Yep.
Them kids don't care that she Beyonce.
Yep, they don't.
I want my Fruit Loops, and I want them now.
Yep.
So
and your mommy.
And your mommy, and that's just that. So just all of those things together make for a really busy life where it's hard to stop and take it all in sometimes. Or it's hard to stop and kind of understand where you are amongst the mess and stop and be there for your partner, because your life is so crazy. She with the girls is crazy. I come back, it's kind of like, hey bro, jump in where you can.
Grab a kid.
Yeah, grab a kid and let's go. And it's not like I'm not gonna come home to my wife being whimsical where her feet barely touch the ground. She has a warm apple pie waiting for me and a foot rub. That's not practical, bruh. You know, and the same here. She'll tell me like, babe, I miss you. And what you've been doing a good job of is not being on my ass about it. Like, letting me know that you miss me, but not making me feel bad that we can't do more or the time hasn't really been available to us. I appreciate
But
that.
I think it's also because you do a really good job at making sure I'm taken care of. And that kind of leads me to like my next thought. I'm thinking about the ways that our roles have changed in our relationship due to us working together in our marriage.
Transitions.
We just flow really well.
Transitions,
and
man.
okay, Kier said before we started, like, babe, can you take the lead on this conversation? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try. So I'm taking it seriously.
You doing a damn thing.
Thank you. I feel like I am. But going back to us, like, I just feel like our working relationship hasn't always been like this.
No.
And it has vastly affected our relationship. And I don't really want to talk about the bad. I kind of want to focus on, like, where did we get things right? Where do you think we got things right? Because a lot of times people who work with their spouses, that boundary and that relationship is obviously an issue. But for the ways that we've got it right, what do you think those things are, and how do you think it's affected us in like the success of our relationship right now? Because I think we're doing a good job.
I do too. The marriage is actually in tip-top shape. So everything else is
chaotic.
show.
It's not a shit show. It's working. It's just
It's
a
a
lot
sh-
of moving parts.
It's a this show.
No.
Shit-ish.
I am big on how we speak about ourselves and our lives. So I don't want to say it's a show.
Don't
I just wanna
manifest
say,
that, sis.
Yeah, y'all know how I feel about manifestation. It's not a show. It's just a lot of moving parts, and we're just trying to find some steady in all of it. You know what I mean?
Like how you told me to stop calling the house, say it look like a trap house.
Yeah, stop saying our house like a trap house.
It be looking like a trap house.
But it's not a trap house.
It's not. But it be looking like one sometimes.
Not anymore. We be cleaning up.
I think one of the things we got right. So I'm reading this book right now. It's Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Couples.
Oh yeah, I saw it. It came from Amazon. Didn't you just buy it?
I did.
Is it here?
It is. I've been reading it on all my flights.
He's such a student. He's such a nerd.
I gotta be, man. You can't be a therapist if you're not always learning.
You're right.
Yeah,
I think in any profession, you always have to be a constant learner.
Medical, legal, whenever you have one of those professions when you deal with people and the laws and rules change all the time. But I'm reading this book about CBT, and in the joint they talk about.
Can you explain what CBT is?
So CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a therapeutic approach where it's supposed to separate you from these things called cognitive distortions, which are these flaws in logic, these flaws in the way that you see things. Sometimes your mind sees things that your eyes don't. Like your mind will interpret something a very particular way because of past experiences, whatever, usually trauma, all of those things. And that's not what's happening to you right now, but that's what you feel like is happening to you. And it takes some practice and some guidance to be able to sidestep that and see what's really going on and live a really full life. But in the CBT book, they're talking about
in the joint.
Yeah,
I love the way you talk, man.
Yeah, I'm from DC.
It's so real.
In the joint, they were talking about how they're two different. Damn, it's about to be a long-winded response. Just stick with me.
The reason why I want you to explain it, because a lot of people have been asking about it, and I think this is the perfect opportunity to break it down.
I do that for y'all, no problem. In the book they talk about different sides of your personality. Like there's one that's called a firefighter, and then there's another part of your personality. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a guardian. Your guardian is whenever you're going through tough stuff in your life, your guardian tries to make everything right, tries to make everything equal, and it goes about trying to put all the pieces and the parts together, which can drive you crazy. The other thing is a firefighter, and a firefighter just tries to eliminate negative thoughts away from your brain at all costs. It tries to protect you from that. So what it does is it does things to distract you. Risky activities, drug usage, alcohol, promiscuous activities, unprotected sex, like all the things that feel really good in the moment but long term are damaging. It's just to get you away from negative experiences. The whole point of that is compartmentalization, taking all these different pieces of your life and compartmentalizing them and putting them on their own separate shelf with a label. And I think that's one of the strengths of our marriage. We don't really talk about it. We got different like religious principles and things like that. I'm not really a person who says that we're blessed. I'm not a person who says, I guess I'll say we're fortunate. I think we're very lucky. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being lucky, but I think we're very lucky. Very, 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 very lucky. And I think we just so happen to be two people that have really skilled at compartmentalizing pieces, and I think we're good at compartmentalizing this part of our marriage. Our relationship, us being husband and wife, is one compartment. Our relationship being co-parents is one compartment. Our relationship being business partners is one compartment. And even though they all share the same space in our life, we're able to approach them in different ways. Like, I don't talk to her when we talking about content the same way I talk to her as if she and I had a problem between the two of us. But that used to happen.
Yeah, and vice versa. Man, we learned so much. I will say about compartmentalization piece.
That word is hard.
I think I said it.
I never get it right.
If I didn't, hey, you know what I meant.
Yeah,
I think that we were people that had to do that before we were in a relationship with each other.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to lose sight of the fact that, like, we had this type of practice before we came into a relationship with each other, you know? And I feel like had we not, we would have had to do a lot more work to get there. So I do recognize that, like, that was maybe a strength that we had kind of coming into this relationship. But yeah, we did struggle with the communication piece. Because I remember that I had to kind of fix the way that I talked to you, because I used to talk to you very matter of fact, like we were coworkers. And you'd be like, babe, like, I don't know if we were married
we weren't
then.
married yet.
But it's like, but I'm your boyfriend. Like, chill. Like, what you doing? And I know that was something that I had to learn, because I didn't know how to turn this part on and turn that part off. I knew it was there, but I just didn't have I didn't know when to focus on those different compartments in our relationship.
It's hard to tell, because the way you talk to someone as a business partner is different than the way you talk to them if, you know, that's your significant other.
Yeah.
One time we got into it
One
one time that sticks out for
Right.
me, we got into it because I was thinking about this thing from a business perspective, and I think she was still feeling her way around being on camera, and it was really personal. And we were talking about hair, and I told her, I was like, look, I'm starting to feel like I can't say certain things to you, because the things that get me in trouble as a husband are the things that need to be said as a CEO or as a business owner. I said, I love the fact that you taking company money and you getting your hair done, but I don't understand why I'm paying $700 for hair that I can never shoot. And then she was like, and I was like, because my demeanor.
My hair look good right now, though.
It does. Shout out to
It's
the company.
not $700 hair, though.
Listen, anything more than $250
Oh, it's definitely not $250.
might as well be $700.
Y'all know this is a hybrid microlink sewing. This ain't cheap. They know.
Red
the girlies
Goose,
know.
Lava Juice.
You know way more about
Rickle,
hair than you
frickle,
let
snickle,
on
dickle.
because you be around.
Yeah, I know about them pull through.
And
Feed through braids, goddess braids, free through locks, pixie locks,
he knows
two-strand
more.
twists.
This man also takes
protective
our weave out.
styles.
Don't listen to him. He knows.
Huh?
He knows.
Huh?
He knows.
Gel twists, goddess braids, micro pixies.
I'm about to leave.
Vacation
where?
braids, box braids.
Come on, babe.
I'm in there. But yeah, it's
some really uncomfortable conversations.
they were. And it was, you know, the air was a little thick in the house after that. But man, this dude on IG said this about wisdom. And he said, whenever you meet a person who's wise, ask them what they've been through, because wisdom is costly. Wisdom comes from the pain of getting shit wrong, trying to fix it, getting it wrong again, and then eventually self-correcting and course-correcting and getting your thing on track. And that's exactly how we came here. And why I feel bad for people is because not everyone has a kind of relationship up under all the obvious face level stuff where they can survive that period, that period of that conflict and not getting along and not seeing eye to eye and trying to bring it back down to the overall why. Hard, man.
Do you think we're, I guess, on the same page on the why?
What?
Yeah.
Man, there's been so many times in the last few days where I just thought it was going to be a big deal.
Like, give me an example. Like being gone, like these past couple days.
Nah, it's been clear on that. We even then, we had a whole episode about you taking your vacation.
Yeah.
Go check that out. We'll
Oh,
put it
yeah.
here or here or maybe at the end or something.
somewhere.
I don't know. It's going to be
You'll
somewhere.
see
Yeah, just click that joint. But taking vacations and not feeling guilty and not having to explain yourself all the time, not having to constantly reassure your partner all the time. I know that that's something a lot of people like, but that's exhausting to have to constantly reassure somebody, I'm not mad at you. Baby, it's not your fault. It's not like at some point, yo, you got to pick up on that without me having to do that work for you, dog. And we got there. But we known each other for 10 years.
Yeah. But you know, another thing for that, Kier and I really like our alone time. And by alone, I mean like not with each other. Like, I want to be by myself without you. He like to be by himself without me. And I don't know if it's an only child thing. I don't know. I love missing you. I love, this is going to sound really bad, but it's like when you're kind of doing your own thing for a couple of days and then you come home to me and then like me and you can have some like alone time. It's just something about not seeing you for a while, even throughout the day. Like not seeing you throughout the day, but then seeing you at night. I said that in my vows. I said something about like turning down with you at night.
Yeah, turn up what you doing today and turn it down with you at night.
I think we're both very secure people individually, and I think we both understand that. So I think sometimes, like especially if you're working a lot, and some people might not always understand. It's like, you've been gone all day. Why do you still need to go out? I'm like, because you've been working. You're not taking you time. And I want you to come back feeling whole. You're a way more fun person to be around when you're happy. I don't want to be miserable with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want us to be burnt out and not really feeling like we're refueling ourselves and we're like pouring from empty cups into each other. Like, what sense does that make?
Yeah, especially when you don't have to. And marriage be like that sometimes when you feel like you have to do the hard thing. When it's like, well, it should be hard by way of difficulty or by way of just not having experience dealing with that thing, but it shouldn't be hard as in it's not working and I'm trying to make it work, especially by myself. Does that make sense?
No, I think it does.
Yeah. I didn't know if that was clear or not.
Yeah.
But that translates from our personal relationship to the business because you've done a good job of learning when to push in and when to back off.
I haven't always been.
Yeah,
that.
you've been so good at that because I'm not a person who needs everything done for them.
You don't like things done for you.
But you know what? My experience even dating, I don't know, maybe men are like this too. Like a lot of women that I've dated in the past, they'll go out of their way to do
take care of
everything
you.
for you. Like they want to do everything for you. And I don't like that. I thrive off independence. I thrive off being able to do for myself. In a marriage, you got to be able to let your spouse, you got to be able to let go and let your spouse do that, which has been challenging for me.
Yeah, because
But
I'm not naturally this way. I love
What
like
way?
supporting you.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that was, and going back to the business, that was one of the issues too. Like I wanted to be more involved in certain things and kind of do everything together business wise. And Kier was like, I got it.
Yeah,
and
this,
I'm like, okay.
I gotta learn. Like I learn best when I don't have any other voices in the room taking me off track of what I need to learn. And Noemie, she's a faster learner than me. So she catches concepts really quick. And then she's like, okay, and she's really proactive. Okay, let's put these pieces in place. And in the business world, that works, man. That works a lot of the time. In the marriage, that don't work as well. Because I'm like, if you telling me what to do, I can't figure it out for myself. I need you to just give me some space. And you've been really good about that. I think we sat down and talk one time.
That used to hurt my feelings like back in the day.
Because you like to be needed.
Yes,
Yeah, you like to be needed.
I love to be needed.
Hate being needed, man.
But I feel like what has helped me there is we have more clearer defined roles in the business. So officially he's the CEO, I'm the COO. And I feel like Kier is more of like the face of the organization where I kind of do more of the, I hate the word behind the scenes and I'll explain why in a second, but I do a lot more of the behind the scenes work. No, I'm gonna talk about why I hate behind the scenes. I hate the term, maybe not the term, but the way that people interpret behind the scenes as if it's like lesser quality, lesser important work. When honestly, I feel like at some points it's more important. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just feel like I've just gotten a lot of comments insinuating that like I don't do as much work as I do in our brand, in our individual brands, in each other's brands, and in the business. And it low-key hurts my feelings. Like I feel like sometimes when those comments are made, I know that they come from like a good space. Like it'll be like, okay, so now that you quit your job and you're doing this full time, are you gonna do this and you're gonna do that and you're gonna create this content? And I'm like, I've always been creating content. I just haven't always been the face of the content. So just going back to our roles, I just feel like both of us have found our strengths and have found the roles that we're really, really good at. And because of that, we don't really have to work with each other on a one-on-one basis as much. We just kind of touch base about logistics. Even when we have to shoot brand deals together, I'm not the most creative person. So Kim might be like, okay, you stand here, you say this, you do this, and then I'm gonna make the magic happen. You know what I mean? And I just feel like the talent piece and the like audience facing piece has been your strength, but the management, the logistics, and the behind the scenes stuff has been my strength. And because we're kind of like focusing on the things that we're really good at, it has really propelled the business forward.
Yeah, I've let off the gas of being a jack of all trades. I don't want to do everything. I want to do the stuff that I'm really good at and outsource the stuff that I'm not.
Yeah.
I keep saying I just want to be talented. I want to show up.
You're so good at it. You can book Kier for a podcast today. He'll be ready. Not even a podcast. You can book him to be a keynote speaker.
Yeah, give me 100,000 people. Give me 15 minutes.
Yo, he be pulling it out his ass. Like, I sit there in awe. And I know, like, I've caught myself in moments, even in this video now, like us recording this now, where I'm looking at you and I'm in awe. And it's just like, I really do feel that way about you. It's just like, damn, you are so good at what you
Thanks,
do.
Baby. I do not take myself that seriously, though.
And I think that's the beauty of
when
it.
People be taking themselves so
I
serious.
wish I was. If I was as talented as you are, as far as like being on the go and being able to like pull shit out of my ass like that, I'd be insufferable. God knew what he was doing when he ain't giving me that string. You know
that's
how you
why
say
I can't sing.
If Kier could sing,
I'd be that dude. If I could sing,
you.
What's my man name?
Or if you could dance, you'll be like,
what's my man name? Born to Sing, Volume 2. Every time I close. What's his name?
Please don't.
What's his name?
I don't know.
His name. Eric Bellinger.
Oh, yeah.
Eric Bellinger. If I could sing like Eric Bellinger, I would never in my life shut up. It'd be so bad. But you know what, though? I forgot the point I was going to make. Eric Bellinger threw me off.
It's all good.
Damn, Eric. Oh, I know what I was going to say. It wasn't related. I be in these rooms with these powerful men, and they be having these conversations. These dudes take themselves so seriously. And then they ask me, I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't. It's just life, bro.
But I think that's why, like, you are who you are. Because you really are being yourself. I'll say this. I specifically didn't talk to Kier about this because I wanted to see his, like, authentic views. Even though we told people, don't bring new to the camera.
We be doing that sometimes.
We be doing that sometimes. But I think it's going to land in a good place.
We got the tools to fix it if it's wrong, though.
Yeah, we'll turn this camera off. Our marriage is way more important than this right now. But it's a good question. So, like, just looking back on everything that we've gone through and, like, where we see the business going, not so much just our marriage, but, like, the business going, like, do you see us continuing? Because Kier about to be a star. My baby is a star. Right, my baby's a huge star. I mean, I am too, but my man is a star. My man.
Here we go with my man. My man Cube.
Like, where do you see this, like, marriage business going in the future? Do you see us still working together?
Yeah, I think eventually you're gonna have your own thing.
I think so too.
I think
that's
that
what I want.
This supportive. When I first met Noemie, man, forgive me if I said this on the sit down talk before, but she said something that it lives in my head. You said, everyone wants to be the CEO. I want to be the CEO's executive assistant. And at the time, she was in law school, and you know we live in this culture.
Explain to them why I said it, because like I don't want people to be like, executive assistant.
First off, there's nothing wrong with being an executive assistant. An executive assistant, they make all the moves. Without the executive assistant, the business does not run. You think the CEO know how to troubleshoot Gmail?
Nope.
You think the CEO knows all the individual names of all these people at all the companies that make all the decisions and who you go to for what and how to reroute this and nah. Not at all. And I never wanted to be the CEO of anything. I don't really have like a boss complex.
People don't have an accurate view of what the CEO actually does on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
The CEO fundamentally is the face of the business. Like, they're involved in the operations and the logistics of the business, but that's not really their focus.
It's fetishized.
Yeah.
Like everything else. Being a CEO for a lot of people is more of a self-evaluative thing. Yeah, it says that I am worthy of good things. I'm worthy of respect. I'm worthy of being looked up to. It's not about responsibility or making a great product. It's people being self-indulgent, trying to feel better about themselves, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I think particularly you being a woman and women fighting so hard against the system of playing second banana to men or being in a perpetual supportive role to men, I can see how if you say that, some women will be like, oh, you should want your own. You should do your own, as if you don't still want your own and do your own thing.
Or if you have your own.
We were just talking about this with 90210. Noemie works behind the scenes. If you work in theater Or if you work in entertainment, you know behind the scenes is the industry.
Yep.
Everyone knows about 90210. Everybody know the character Dillon, Beverly Hills 90210. Not a lot of people know who Aaron Spelling is. If it wasn't for Aaron Spelling...
Hold on 1 second. It's Bianca.
Alrighty.
Thanks, boo.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
So one of the kids fell down the steps.
I know, that's why I was just like,
But yeah, the behind the scenes is what makes everything work.
You were talking about 90210.
90210, Aaron Spelling. And we were watching Succession, the show
Yep.
last night. And I stopped, I said, go back. One of the executive producers, Will Ferrell of the show
no
Succession.
idea.
Behind the scenes is what makes the show the show. The face is what you see and what you develop a relationship with. But it's all the people. It's the PAs, production assistants, it's the executive producers, and all these folks that make it work. I say all this to say that she always said she wanted to be in a role like this, and now it's here. But I see you branching off and doing your own thing. I think you speak to motherhood and womanhood in a way that feels kind of like your homegirl or your really big booty young cousin.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
And it's relatable. Women don't always get women who talk to them at eye level, who make them feel good about themselves, not make them feel self-conscious. I think that's going to take off. People are just getting to know you. I'm just loud.
Yeah,
I'm the loud one in the room, so it catches
Yeah.
everybody's attention.
Yeah.
I think you're going to branch off and do your own thing in multiple different directions.
I agree.
I had an interview with Matt Higgins, who... shout out to Matt Higgins, man. Matt Higgins, he's a guest shark on Shark Tank. One thing we were talking about was, he asked me what's my goal. I said, I don't really have specific goals anymore. I just do what feels right. I talk to the people I trust. And, you know, I try to move in directions that allow me to sleep well at night. And I don't have goals because I didn't know we would be here 3 years ago.
Who knew?
What I look like guessing 3 years from now? I don't know. I don't try to. I don't care to know what the future holds.
It's been 5 years now.
Yeah. I don't care to predict what the future holds.
Yeah.
I just want to be prepared for whatever comes.
Yeah.
But I think you just have this light that shines inside of you that's so bright, and it's going to take time for you to get used to this new landscape.
Yep.
People think it's freeing being in this space. It is. Like no schedule, no hard schedules like a
Yeah.
9 to 5, but it's also
It's harder.
It's hard,
It's harder to
man.
manage because
Yeah.
something always falls through the cracks, man.
You're building the railroad as the train is riding on it.
Which sounds so wild.
You did nails and the train just chugging along, and sometimes your fingers get smashed.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know where this thing is going. I'm just ready for it. What you think gonna happen?
So let me take a step back. I've heard of the word mompreneur before, but I've never actually looked up what it meant. And mompreneur is basically like a woman who is the primary caregiver of her children, her young children, or children in general, but also has a budding and growing business. And I hear a lot of aspiring mompreneurs, but I don't hear a lot of people who already have those successful businesses, but are also completely hands-on with their children. Like, yes, we have help. Yes, we have a nanny, but I still do pickups and the drop-offs and the hair and the, you know what I mean? I'm still the primary caregiver for our girls. And I want to create, maybe not create, but be a voice, be a face or something for those women, because I think a lot of us exist, but we don't always see it without having to compromise one or the other. You know what I mean? So I see my brands as not necessarily being like you. I feel like you're going to continue to be the one traveling, the one kind of like being the loud, big, face. And I think what I want to do is I want to normalize like the everyday woman, because all of my friends are mompreneurs now.
Do you see yourself in a lot of the women that are in the social media space?
I don't, mostly because like even when we talk about like influencing, social media influencing, I see a lot of like the moms that are the face. You know what I mean? I see the moms that are like kind of carrying the social media brand. The brand deals are still primarily you. You know what I mean? The speaking engagements are still primarily you. I don't necessarily care to be that person. I more so care to show that if I wanted to do something like that, or if someone wanted to do something like that, here's how we do it. Like if my content can literally be, what do I do on a day-to-day basis? How do I manage the business? How do I manage the kids? How can I get you from point A to point, to Z? Like to be more informative, but to also to be like, hey, she's doing it, I can do it too. And I feel like with you, you're more like the mental health wellness space is more,
it's a different
it's
thing.
different.
Yeah.
It's different. And it's not comparable. I'm not trying to just be the boss. I want to showcase like my journey to trying to be a good mom, my journey to trying to be a good wife, my journey to making sure that we're financially stable. Like the things that a lot of us as millennial moms right now, especially millennial moms of color right now, are dealing with. We don't have those templates. We don't have those examples. We don't have those people that are not just telling us we can do it, but are also doing it.
And also relatable.
Like, don't get it twisted. I know I have a full face of makeup right now, but if y'all know me for real, this ain't every day.
It's 2023.
Who doesn't?
Everybody got a full face of makeup.
Right.
I ain't want to
go ahead.
I was watching this, my bad. I was watching this TikTok video with this dude. He's talking about he's dating. He's like in his 40s. He's like, the quality of people out here. It's plenty of people. He's like, it's plenty of good women. It's the quality of person. I like this post because you never hear men talk about this. And,
I'm scared.
And not trashing women. Nah. He said like the makeup tutorials and everything, everyone can put it on now. And it's tangible for everyone. Everyone knows how to look beat to the nines. Did I say that right?
Beat to the gods? I don't think people say that anymore.
I think it's dressed to the nines.
I don't know. We don't know.
That, you know what? But he said, well, people, everyone knows how to make their outside look good. People don't really know how to make their inside look good. You know, and it just made me think about that. And you got the inside and the outside.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for what's coming up next for me because it's coming.
Can I say one more thing? Because I know
Yeah,
we're short on
we gotta
time.
land this
I
plane.
know. I just don't like, and you talk about it a lot when people have expectations of you because you're in this space. Oh, if I were you, I would post more. And Kier has this. You need to get these things. They see
That hurts my feelings,
they
guys.
see the opportunity for you to do it, and they're projecting because I think a lot of people in this spot will be like, oh, my spouse getting that limelight, scoot over, boy, let me get some of that too. But I think what they forget in those moments is that may not be something you necessarily want that way right now.
It's not.
Because you can see the visibility of somebody, but you don't see the work that goes into it.
He works really hard. I don't want to do that.
I don't want this for you.
I don't want that for
I don't
me
want this
either.
for you. I want you to live a life of more leisure than the life I
want a
live right now.
soft-ish. I don't necessarily want to do nothing, but I don't want to do all the things.
You want to do nothing light?
I just want a
Nothing-ish.
softish. You know, softish. I want a soft. Like everybody's
Soft
like
life.
soft life. Yeah, but I really like working. Like I like doing what I'm doing. Like I'm really good at this.
I'm not a soft life
but
kind of guy.
No, you're not.
Nah, I don't want that. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
want
for me.
softish.
I'll take some soft sometimes. It's
Yeah.
just it's not my
Yeah.
swag.
But we
Yeah.
found what works for us, and
Yeah.
we doing it.
So thank y'all for stopping by and having this conversation with us. It's a different venues, different energy. You know, y'all were in our hotel room, so hopefully y'all gonna put a little bit on this bill. Make sure you hit the notification button and make sure that you hit the subscribe button. It's really important. Don't do us like that, y'all. Don't do me like I do other YouTubers who I've been following for years, and I don't do that. I'm just catch you next time. Y'all take care. Be well.